Okay, American Cultures 2, guys. Hope you guys are all doing well. It is Thursday. You guys had those Martin Luther King questions that were due for me last night. I'm going to be grading them today. If you didn't get them in, make sure you do. If not, points will be taken off. All right, mid-markings are due tomorrow. So make sure you have everything in, because if not, it's going to be zero. It's going to be a problem for you guys, all right? But either way, most of you guys are turning that stuff in, which is good. What I need you guys to do now is open up your notes. You see where the objective under other voices of protest, where it says, what are ways people can protest through nonviolence, and is this effective? What we're going to be looking at today is a number of civil rights groups that were around during the 50s and 60s, and things they did as far as legislation and those sorts of things to get rights and bills and new laws passed, those sorts of things. So the first one, which we've already went over earlier this year, seems like it was 10 years ago now with the way everything's been going down, but that is the NAACP, which stands for, as you guys know, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. It was formed in 1909. Now remember, we talked about how it was an interracial organization. Remember, one of the founding members was a white lady. And that was the importance of it, is they said we don't want to be just an all black group. We want to be mixed race as well, to show that, you know, all sides can be together equally and all sides can come together. Another founding member of the NAACP was a man named W.E.B. Du Bois. He was another founding member there. So once again, my wife just took my coffee. Well, where's mine?
How was yours? Calm down.
I'm already like 3 minutes into this lesson, so I'm not restarting it. Okay, thank you. All right. Anyway, let's get back on track here. W.E.B. Du Bois was a founding member of the NAACP. Next slide down. One of the things they did, or one of the many things they did, is they focused on challenging laws that prevented African Americans from exercising their full rights. And they succeeded, and they did it through the courts. They wanted the courts to pass laws in their favor, and they did. Two of the laws that they got passed were anti-lynching bills. Remember those pictures we looked at a while ago, where there would be someone that was lynched, and there was like 15, 20 people there posing for the pictures? Well, what one of these bills says is, if you're there at a lynching, even if you didn't actually commit it and kill the person or whatever, you're still responsible, or you can still have charges pressed against you. So when you would see those pictures of, essentially they almost looked like parties where they would be around the dead bodies, if you could be identified in those pictures, you were now subject to be tried as well. Okay. Next, the National Urban League, also still around today. What they did, or what this group did, is it sought to assist people moving to major urban cities. A lot of African Americans in the South were moving up north, known as the Great Migration, because there was better opportunities there, better rights, you know, all sorts of things. But it's not like when they moved up north, let's say to Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, wherever, they had a ton of money. So what would happen is, let's say you're in the South and you say, all right, I want to get out of here, I want to move to Chicago. You would contact the National Urban League, and what they would do is they would assist you. They would get you a place to live, and they would get you a job. Now, when I say place to live, it wasn't a white picket fence. It wasn't with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, or anything like that. It's probably just a one-room place in an apartment somewhere, or even in someone's house, whatever it is. But it was a roof over your head. All right. The job they got you wasn't paying you thousands and thousands of dollars a year. All right. It was a entry-level, very low-paying job, but it was a job. It was something to get you started if you were coming up here. Okay. All right, next slide. Congress of Racial Equality, bringing change through peaceful confrontation. During World War II, CORE, which is Congress of Racial Equality, organized demonstrations against segregation in Baltimore, Chicago, Denver, and Detroit. Either tomorrow or Monday, we're going to be doing something where you're going to be looking at CORE. Next, and this one you need to make sure you understand. A lot of people think Martin Luther King was probably the leader of the NAACP, right? That was the biggest group for equal rights for African Americans. He obviously was the biggest leader in it. Clearly, that's where he was the leader of, right? No, that's not true. He was the leader of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. That was the group he was in charge of. Make sure you know that. And what they did is they would practice nonviolent protests. And what you're going to see later this week and next week is even if there was violence against them, even if protesters would beat them or the police in some instances or whatever it would be, they didn't fight back. They were allowed to defend themselves. They didn't just go and let them beat them up, but they didn't throw punches back. They weren't violent back to the protesters. Their view is we are going to get changes through nonviolence. All right. And did it work? Did it not work? Well, we're going to see. Finally, last slide for today. Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the SNCC. This began in 1960 in Raleigh, North Carolina. Most came from Southern communities and just like the NAACP and other groups, also interracial. All right. Now, those are the groups, okay? Tomorrow what we're going to look at is what did those groups do? Like as far as what were their protests? Did they just march through the streets and say, hey, we want equal rights, or did they do other things? And that's what we're going to be looking at tomorrow, okay? That's it for the notes today. The exit ticket you do not have to do. What I want you to understand, though, any work you did not get into me, get it in today. If you're not sure, if you're like, hey, did I not turn in anything? Check your Skyward. If it's 2 stars or a 0, that means I didn't get it from you, all right? Get it in. Guys, have a great day. We'll be seeing you tomorrow. Bye.